The Cowboy Spirit Radio Network is pleased to present from Sharlot Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona, Arizona Roundup. The program begins right now.
Welcome to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebook at Sharlot Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona. And my special guest this week is Tamara Player, who is the president and CEO of Polara Health here in Prescott and Greater Yavapai County. Tamara, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me here today.
Yeah, it's fantastic, really. And today, this month May is the Mental Health Awareness Month. Is that correct?
It is. May is the month that we have the opportunity to remove the stigma and talk about mental health and mental well-being.
Fantastic. Now, we were talking before the show started that you and your husband and your family moved from Maine, which was your home state, a number of years ago. You arrived in Prescott in 2019, but I find it interesting that you've come a long ways to Prescott from where you grew up. Tell us a little bit about growing up in Maine. As a native Californian, Maine was about as far away and mysterious as you could get for someone growing up in Southern California who's spent a lot of time in the desert of Arizona.
Yeah, and probably all the beaches in California as well.
Right?
Yeah. Growing up in Maine was wonderful. It's a beautiful state, lots of great outdoor activities and opportunities to be involved in the community. It's very rural. So there's a sense of people take care of each other. Strong, independent people you have to be in the cold winters of northern Maine. And also just a sense of, independence, is what I'll say.
Right.
Yeah.
And in one of the articles I read about your career here in Prescott and your role as president and CEO of Polara Health, it mentioned the name of your town. Now, I'm going to have you pronounce it. Is it Houlton?
Holton.
Holton.
Yes.
Holton, Maine. And it's right next to Canada. I mean, I think you can see Canada across the river or across the bridge, right?
Yeah, so if you're going up to Maine, the interstate ends in Holton, and if you kept going, you would end up in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah, so grew up right on the Canadian border.
Is that New Brunswick?
Exactly.
All right,
yes.
all right. And so tell us a little bit about growing up there and what, you're going through school. You're a long ways from, the Canadian-American border in Maine. When did you start getting interested in mental health? That's a big career choice, and obviously you've been spending probably over 3 decades or more
Yes.
in the mental health field. When did you start thinking this might be something you're interested in?
I when I was in high school, probably I really just became interested in behavior and what gets people to do the things that they do or causes them to. Became really interested in the brain. So when I went to college, took some psychology courses where it was just like, this is fascinating. Like, we just don't even understand so much about how our body works and our brains work. And so I decided early on in college that I wanted to become a neuropsychologist. And then I fell in love, and so took a side trip, but continued to really look for positions and opportunities within mental health to continue to understand and have that impact on people's lives.
So you've probably seen a lot of change in the mental health business since you started. When did you start seeing some changes in Maine? Obviously, your career got started there,
Yeah.
and you're now in a very large organization here in Prescott. Did you start with a small organization, with a school, with a hospital? How did your career evolve in mental health?
Sure. So when I graduated with my bachelor's degree, I took the first job I could, which was working in a residential facility with individuals with serious mental illness. They were transitioning out of the state hospital back into the community, and our work was to help them develop the skills that they needed to live independent. So impactful work, and the majority of people that we worked with ended up moving into supported housing or, again, some independent living program. But my passion was really working with children and families. So I took a job providing intensive in-home services to at-risk kids. and families, and did that for several years. I became really discouraged, actually, around how systems continued to oppress families instead of helping them to become their best self or, function better. So I had the opportunity in Maine to work at the state level. Even though I was working in community mental health, I represented the organization at the state level, and we totally revamped the whole child welfare system to a family strength-based approach. And that's when I really got interested and excited about leadership and being able to not just impact one person or one family at a time, but a whole system and a whole community. So from there, I eventually became the chief operating officer for a center really similar, actually, to Polara Health, just more rural than we are here. And did that for 6 years. Our kids had, all except the youngest, had graduated high school and gone to college, and my husband and I decided that, okay, if we're going to do something, now's the time for us to move. And so we moved out west to Colorado and never looked back to Maine, other than to go back to see our family.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
Now, do you still have family that are up there near the Canadian border?
We do. My parents still live up there, and then our oldest son lives in southern Maine. So we go probably 2 or 3 times a year, always in January, at least. All this time to go there. I don't know why, but it always works out that January is one of our trips.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I've been in Maine a number of times, and it's a beautiful state. And I think that everyone should find a time to put Maine on their bucket list and take a trip there. And I think they'll discover, no matter what the season, if they like winter, winter's waiting for them. Of course, the summertime and is a time to just mentally recharge.
It is.
The beauty of Maine, whether the interior or the coast.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of folks in Arizona would probably discover that the wilderness of Maine is as enchanting as it is here in Arizona.
I would agree. And the beauty in the fall, all the fall colors.
Oh,
Like
right.
when we moved out west, that was one of the things I missed. And then I discovered Oak Creek Canyon.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Right? And there wasn't any shortage of fall colors in the Rocky Mountains.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. More golds from the aspen trees than the reds.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a short break and thank our sponsors. Then we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about Polara Health's role here in Prescott, in Greater Yavapai County, and promoting wellness and awareness in the month of May.
Sounds great.
Stuart and his colleagues at the Sharlot Hall Museum are so pleased that many of you within the Prescott community are agreeing to and helping to sponsor this fine program. Here's our thank you. Here's our shout out.
Since 1995, Helkin & Horn Ad Agency in Prescott, Arizona has helped local businesses stand out and succeed. From print and radio to websites and social media, their talented team crafts your brand's message and offers a plan to get it out into the community. Want results backed by 30 years of experience? Visit azadagency.com today. Helkin & Horn, where their slogan is "Be Known." If you're looking for the store that has everything, Prescott True Value Hardware might be your answer. From having that part to fix that leaky faucet to decorating your garden with charm, they've got it all, and a friendly face to match. For over 30 years, they've proudly served Prescott, supporting neighbors like you and local nonprofits along the way. Visit Prescott True Value Hardware. They're more than just a hardware store.
Welcome back to Arizona Roundup. This is Stuart Rosebook at Sharlot Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona. My special guest today is Tamara Player, who's the President and Chief Executive Officer of Polara Health here in Prescott and Yavapai County. And Tamara, we were just talking about how you grew up in Maine and how you became interested in mental health and how the brain works. It's very interesting. My wife is a psychologist at the VA here in Prescott, and I've heard her talk about that a lot. And I think that women and men who are inspired to work in mental health have that spark, and it's a passion to see how they can help one person. They knowing that helping that one person is going to help them and their family and their coworkers, and more people than we can count. Tell me a little bit about some of those experiences that have, continue to strengthen your resolve for this as a career.
Wow, that's a big question, Stuart. So one of the things that I've done since I stepped into a leadership role is to make sure that I'm connected to the work that we do every single day in our community. And I get to do that either through going to all of our locations across Yavapai County and engaging with staff, or hearing about the work that we're doing, some of the challenges that they're experiencing, and what our role is in closing that gap. But the other thing that I did is I have a partner advisory council. So there are members who receive services from us in our organization, and I meet with them every single month. And we talk about what's working well, what's not working well, what do they want to see, and they help us design our services. So I get to stay connected to the work in ways that's really important and impactful as the leader of the organization. So, I mean, there's so many stories. We had a woman who came into our primary care practice. She hadn't accessed care in a period of time and started to have some odd symptoms. She was diagnosed with cancer, and we were able to get her connected to oncology here. We had a gentleman, again, also with cancer. We didn't know that when he initially came into care with us, but he came into our substance use residential program. We're like, something is going on here, right? And we were able to help him in his recovery, but more importantly, to get access to care. Unfortunately, he passed away, but there's all these opportunities in our community to connect with people and to understand and to not other somebody.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, the people we serve are our family, friends, and our neighbors.
Right.
And so that's really what motivates me to do the work, and to look at what are those innovative practices that we can be bringing to our community, to make sure that right here in Yavapai County, people have access to quality, innovative care. So an example, talking about the brain, or getting back to the brain, we added cognitive development treatment probably 5 years ago, where we help build neural pathways back in the brain. It has helped children stop taking their ADHD medications. It's helped adults who use substances and their brain was really impacted by that, to improve their memory and their attention and just overall functioning. So it's really cool.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and I think that by the fact that the whole month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month, gives us an opportunity, and of course Polara Health, to reach out to the community and mental health organizations. Here in Prescott, does Polara Health join forces with the VA and other hospitals? Are there events that you do together, or public place? Tell us a little bit how people can, if they're feeling like they need to get a hold of Polara Health, how do people reach out if they're needing help right now here in the Prescott or greater Yavapai County area?
Sure. So we have lots of partnerships. Being in a rural area, you have to partner. There's no one organization that's everything to everyone. So from Dignity to the VA to CCJ, Spectrum, Southwest Behavioral Health Services, we have lots of partnerships that we work together, because each one of us does something a little different, right? Our goal is that anybody in our community can get their needs met right here in our community. So the way that we do it, our contributions, we offer same-day access. So if somebody wakes up one morning and they say, today I have that 30 seconds of courage, I'm going to go get help, they can just walk through our door, and we see them that day or the next day, depending on what time that they come in. Or we have the crisis stabilization unit, and people can walk in there 24/7 and just say, I'm struggling, I need help, and we work with them to determine what's the best path for them and get them connected.
That's wonderful. And when I was reading about Polara Health, you help everyone from newborns to 100 years old. It's you have a very large staff. I'd like to know a little bit more about that, but you have the professionals on staff to help just the largest umbrella of mental health needs and mental wellness, which we are also talking about. And it's not just mental health is mental wellness as well as mental illness, and that there's such a broad spectrum that Polara Health is here to serve the community.
Yeah, absolutely. So you said, again, so much there that I want to talk about. Just let me know when I need to stop. But we serve birth to end of life. We have a Center for Excellence for birth to 5. We have a Center of Excellence for autism. And then we have our senior peer program that's totally run by volunteers. But that's really that prevention. The goal of our senior peer program is to help reduce isolation and depression that comes as people experience significant changes in their life. And so we have volunteers who run group every single month, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful to see the work that they do and to be a part of it.
Right.
So you mentioned about mental wellness. And oftentimes people think of mental health in terms of mental illness, and there is this continuum, as you mentioned, right? From I'm functioning at my best, I'm dealing with my stress of life and all of that, to I have a serious mental illness, maybe major depression or schizophrenia. And then there's everything in between, right? The World Health Organization did a study back in 2014 and looked at America and said how do our Americans functioning, and in that they identified 67% of us aren't functioning at our highest mental health. So
wow, that's a big number.
Yeah, so it goes, there's a lot that we can do, especially during the month of May, to really focus on mental wellness and our own mental health.
Great. Well, let's take a quick break right now and thank our sponsors again, and we're going to come back and talk about mental wellness, what's happening here in Prescott in the month of May, and a little bit of ways that if people are seeking help or they want to help a loved one, how they can contact Polara Health to do just that.
And once again, another thank you. We are grateful for these people who, with their businesses in Prescott, Arizona, help sponsor this fine program.
For over 45 years, Blind Brothers Arizona has been the heart of window style in Prescott. From blinds, shutters, drapes, they custom design and install with expert precision. Tailored to you, whether for your home or office, trust the name locals rely on. Visit blindbrothersaz.com today or call 928-776-1845 for a free consultation. That's blindbrothersaz.com at 928-776-1845. Blind Brothers Arizona, the original since 1979. Since 2007, Pinion Painting has been transforming homes and businesses with over 40 years of first-hand experience. They bring superior craftsmanship and an eye for detail to every project, making your vision a reality, hassle-free. Your time is precious. Trust Pinion Painting to get it right the first time. Visit Pinion Painting today and let them transform your space. On the web at pinionpainting.com. That's pinionpainting.com.
Welcome back to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebook at Sharlot Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona. And my special guest today is Tamara Player. She is the President and Chief Executive Officer of Polara Health here in Prescott that serves the greater Yavapai County, and it really serves our greater community of our state. And really is a really great to meet you, Tamara, and to sit down and talk to you about this, especially in May, our Mental Health Awareness Month. And when we were before the break, we were talking a little bit about mental wellness and also the fact that the World Health Organization has noted that 67% of us are not operating at our highest level, that there's always, which leaves room for all of us to seek improvement. If people are curious about themselves wherever they are, I'm sure if they go to your website, there's probably some things they can read online, absolutely, some questionnaires or something that if someone just has a question about themselves. Tell us a little bit about how Polara Health, just on the internet, allows people an introduction to helping their own mental wellness.
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. You can go right to our website at polarahealth.com. We have a variety of resources, including several videos on different topics from parenting to anxiety to aging, that people can just get 3 or 4 tips about some things that they can do that might help them. We have some videos specifically on parenting that are longer, that more involved, that families can access. And then a number of resources and blogs and articles that talk about mental health and mental well-being.
Are you seeing more and more people with their family members or adults contacting you about this growing issue of dementia and Alzheimer's? Is that becoming a larger segment of what your health care workers are dealing with on a daily basis?
Absolutely, and we especially see that in Prescott with, a retirement community. We have a lot of people that move here because it's so beautiful, and so that is certainly an increase issue for our community. Actually, we worked with Judge Carmen and Judge Napper and a group of providers throughout Yavapai County to say, what can we do? There's pretty significant gaps. There's gaps in healthcare nationally when it comes to treating dementia, but as you would expect in Yavapai County, right? Leaders come together to say, okay, that's the issue everywhere. What are we going to do to solve this problem here? So we don't have the answer, but I will tell you we work on it on a regular basis. Judge Napper was really successful in getting a new guardianship program passed through the county, that the county's funding, to help for people who don't have a loved one, who can help them through that process. And we have a lot of work to do when it comes to dementia.
Yeah, I would think so. And I have a question I've been wanting to ask you. When you moved from Maine to Colorado, did you move to a big city or, again, a smaller town?
Big city, right outside of Denver.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
yeah.
But did you find yourself in Denver still facing the issues of rural America?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's definitely differences, right? But where we lived in Colorado, we served rural and the larger communities, and then we spent a little bit of time in California before we came here. Every community has their own strengths and opportunities, and what I love about rural work, though, is because you have limited resources, you tend to do a lot more partnerships, see a lot more partnerships, and people come together to solve the challenges that their community is facing. And my experience in Yavapai has been very much like that.
Right, yeah. Right. And I think that's an interesting aspect of working here at Sharlot Hall Museum, where we celebrate our rural beginnings as a county. Sharlot Hall herself was a rural girl, a farm girl from Kansas. Family moved here when she was a teenager, again, living on the edge of Prescott when it was, such a small, growing community. And rural life was the dominant life. But those smaller communities that in ranching that are prevalent across Yavapai County are still our story here in Prescott. And I think we attract a lot of people in Yavapai County who like that independence. As you said, you probably found some similarities to the independent nature of Mainers.
Yes, absolutely.
And Arizonans here in Yavapai County.
Yep, absolutely. And a rich history.
Right.
Right? That people are proud of.
Correct.
And, we're connected to.
And I think that heritage, that community heritage, is one of the things that you see happening here, I believe, in our healthcare system. And Prescott has had a very strong healthcare system. Early on, it was identified as a healthier place to live for its climate and its mountain air. And do you find in your work here at Polara Health that we're still receiving a lot of new residents who are moving here because of our climate?
Yes. Yeah. Climate, outdoor activities, again, sense of community. I mean, Prescott really is everybody's hometown.
Right.
I totally understand the tagline, right?
Right.
I think we used to think it was hidden here. Nobody knew about us. That's not true.
Yeah, it's not true at all. That's not true. And early on, the earliest newspaper editors in Prescott touted Prescott is a place to escape from the desert heat and a place of good air and good health. And I think we'll take one more break here. We're going to come back and talk a little bit about some upcoming events and a little bit more about if people are seeking help for themselves or their family members or loved ones, how they can reach out to Polara Health to do that.
Sounds great.
Looking for the perfect gift? Visit the Bashford House gift shop on the grounds of Sharlot Hall Museum. No admission required. Just walk right up. Explore unique locally made treasures, a wide selection of history books, and so much more. Located in the historic Bashford House, it's the perfect stop for history buffs, gift shoppers, and curious tourists alike. Visit today and take home a gift they'll cherish. Sharlot Hall's Bashford House gift shop. History, gifts, and local charm. Open Tuesday to Saturday, 10 to 4, and Sunday to 12 to 4. In the summer, 10 to 5 and 12 to 5. We look forward to seeing you at Sharlot Hall's Bashford House gift shop.
Welcome back to Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebook at Sharlot Hall Museum here in Prescott, Arizona. Everybody's hometown, as Tamara Player reminded me. And we're talking today about Mental Health Awareness Month here in May, the role of Polara Health and its role here in Yavapai County and our state. Prescott's wonderful has attracted generations of men and women to start over their own lives, bring their family here, pursue their careers, and pursue mental wellness and good health and outdoor activities and positive life ways. Mm-hmm. But not everybody comes here is that always, as successful as they want it to be, and depending on what their age is or something happens with themselves or their families, they need to find a way to seek help. Tell us a little bit about how, if a family member or a loved one or an individual or someone believes a friend needs help, how can they reach out to Polara Health to get some guidance for for themselves, to help their loved ones, or to help themselves?
Yeah, really, they can call us at 928-445-5211, and our customer service team will help get them connected to where they kind of the best resource for them. Also, people can just walk into one of our outpatient offices or our crisis stabilization unit. Mm-hmm. They don't need an appointment. They can just say, I'm here, I need help, or my loved one needs help. We try to really make it easy to access care because we know it's hard. It's hard to say I need help. And so when people have that courage to do that, we really want to be able to make it easy for people to.
Right. And people can also get involved to support Polara Health through different events and volunteering. We have an upcoming event at the Elks Theater later this month. It's called Stand Up Comedy for Mental Health. Can you tell us a little bit about that show?
Yeah, so we have a great comedian coming to talk to, he puts on a show about mental health and mental well-being, and uses this topic. It's not always easy for people to talk about, right? And presents it in a way that we can laugh about it and appreciate it and reduce the stigma as it relates to mental health and our well-being. So I'm super excited to have David come.
And who's the comedian again?
David Gruyere.
And is he one of those? Is he tour? Is he somebody that is David Grenier? Is he just here from Prescott, or is he someone who tours the country?
He tours the country. We actually booked this with him back in October, I think it was. Mm-hmm. So he's really busy, and we brought him in probably about 10 or 15 years ago.
Okay.
And so he's coming back again to participate in our community, engage our community.
And he is a founder of Stand Up for Mental Health. He has his own website, standupformentalhealth.com. So wherever you are listening to this show, look him up at standupformentalhealth.com, David Grenier, and he brings humor to the conversation on mental health. And I guess he's also, when he's not doing stand-up comedy, he's a mental health professional himself.
He is. Yes.
Well, I think it's going to be a fun show. I know I'm going. And so is my wife, who's a psychologist with the VA. So we're looking forward to that evening. And how are other ways that people can get involved if they want to volunteer or be a supporter of Polara Health here in Prescott?
So there's lots of ways to get involved with the services that we offer. We have a variety of events in the community. Actually, we just had our annual masquerade ball in April.
I saw
amazing.
that. We're going to have to go next year. We're going to
okay.
definitely get to that event next year.
Awesome. So people can participate in any of the community events. We have typically every year an annual walk and roll for autism. We had to cancel it this year because of the weather, sometimes Prescott weather.
And when is the walk and roll? What time of year is that?
In April.
April. Okay.
Yes.
Is that the funky snowstorm we just got into?
Yes.
Came out of the blue?
Yes. So that we're like, with the weather, we better cancel this. But again, lots of community partners come to the park here in Prescott, and it's a wonderful day for children and families on the autism spectrum to come and join. And we have an event in September that we're engaged in around suicide prevention and substance use recovery. And obviously this great event just next Friday.
Right. May 9th.
Yes.
Is that right? May 9th at 7 o'clock at
yes.
Elks Theater in downtown Prescott. So you can look up the Elks Theater online if you're interested in tickets. Let's talk a little bit again about Mental Health Month, mental wellness, and I'd like you to our audience today that wherever you are, if you're needing mental wellness or needing some mental health assistance for yourself or family, are there some national hotlines or there's some things that you can mention on this podcast that can support people wherever there may be in terms of their mental health and mental wellness?
Absolutely. 988. 988 is the national hotline, and no matter where you are, you will get connected to someone in your community that can help you. And sometimes it's just talking to somebody, and they have trained counselors who will just talk to you. Sometimes it's about getting connected with other resources and supports, and they can do that as well.
Right, so 988, if you feel like you need to talk to someone right now, you should stop listening to the podcast and dial
988.
988. That's fantastic. Now, locally, let's mention Polara Health's website and phone number again, and just tell people again if they're interested in becoming a partner, if they want to volunteer, or if they need help. This is who to call and where to go online to get that kind of help.
Yeah, so our website's polarahealth.com. Again, you can make a referral right there and reach out to us through that if that's a better venue for you instead of making that call, or you can call us at 928-445-5211, and our customer service team will get you connected to whatever you need.
And what's that number one more time?
928-445-5211.
Fantastic. Well, Tamara, it has been fantastic having you on the show this week. We look forward to you coming back. We want to stay in touch with your upcoming activities and just maybe sometime this summer or fall have you back on the show. Talk a little bit about medical history here in Prescott. We have, we are one of the medical centers of Northern Arizona, play a great role in our community. And I think maybe we'll also come back and talk about rural America and the importance of how our communities can understand the needs of rural health needs across Yavapai County in Arizona.
Stuart, thank you so much for having me on today, and I look forward to our next conversation.
You bet. Thank you so much for this week. Thank you for listening to this week's Arizona Roundup with Stuart Rosebook at Sharlot Hall Museum in Prescott, Arizona.
Well, that's a wrap, folks, and thank you, Stuart, and thank you, Tamara. That was educational. You learn more here by accident than most places by design. And thank you for your contributions to the museum and to the Prescott community. By the way, we are inviting you. The summertime is just about upon us, and it's part of the travel time for many of you. And we would suggest, hey, maybe it's time to go west. That's right, perhaps a little bit of a Western cowboy adventure should be on the agenda for you and your family, maybe even for some of your business groups to find a way to train, get ready for the world of work before us by learning more about the cowboy way. And we invite you to be a part of what we do and what we provide at the Sharlot Hall Museum. So go to charlottehallmuseum.org, charlottehallmuseum.org. Look at the agenda of all the fine activities we have and all of the experiences you can have for you and your family. Hey, we hope to see you soon. Best and blessings to you. You know, walk tall, ride safe, tip your hat. Remember, be good to one another because it truly is the cowboy way.